Okay, so okay, so I'm just making this video at a very late time of night. It's like after midnight, and it's quiet because it's so late. The planes have finally stopped going over the roof. If I go outside, it is possible that a patrol car will come straight past, but I'm not going to do that, I don't think. I'll just stay in here and try to make a video, and I don't know why I'm even making the video. I don't know why I'm making the video, because this reality now is very, very, very controlled and supervised, and it's basically a totally observed reality. That means that everything is being watched. The human being is being watched at a microscopic level, in the sense that they're monitoring everything about you. They're like, that's because the beings that control Earth are artificial. They're not human. They don't have any humanity in them. And so they want to, from what I can see, they want to eliminate the real humans, but as they're doing that in this slow process, one by one, they're, also using them before you go. They're basically using everything about you for their benefit. That's what they call transhuman. Being transhuman, a transhuman reality, which is exactly what we actually have. We have a transhuman reality. We have a transhuman internet computer system, and we have also transhumanism taking place, where you are being studied and also used for your resources. For anything that's human about you, they're using it for their survival. So that's why they say that they take your energy so that they can survive. They take your thoughts and ideas so that they can imitate being human beings, so that they can keep control of the reality and they can survive. That's basically what is happening. Just a minute. And oh, hold on. Oh, That's basically what's happening. Oh, did I say that? That's basically what's happening. That I think I just trying to be a bit more. You try to maintain a human front because you don't feel human anymore when you're being tracked, surveilled, literally controlled even by just the traffic, the vehicles, the pedestrians, the civilians around you. It's all a systematic patrol control system that takes place on you from the minute the sun comes up. And if you go outside your door or go, you only have to, you don't even get to the end of the small dead end street before the patrol system starts. Because basically they cover the whole suburb. They have access to every vehicle, they have access to every house, they have access to every technology, and they have access to your human mind, your human body, and your human, everything that you are doing. They're monitoring it, studying it, using it for their own benefit, like I say, to pretend to be the real humans while suppressing the real humans. Because while I'm being tracked and literally, I'd say, stalked into oblivion, because it's tracking but it's also stalking. So it's because a stalker doesn't just watch you from afar to where you're not aware of them watching you. A stalker wants you to know that you're being watched. A stalker wants you to feel intimidated. A stalker wants to limit your life, wants to control your emotions, because most stalkers are like these beings. They have a psychopathic type of nature. And this is what we're being told today too in the psychopathy of so-called psychology, that a certain percentage of the population has the malignant narcissistic personality disorder, which is very similar. In fact, it is no different in many ways to being a fully fledged psychopath. And we all know and have heard that, full-fledged psychopaths are very, they're basically indifferent to all life. They, as we're told, they operate in the death instinct, not the life instinct, and they don't see life as life. And when they do see that it's out of their control or that it's like a living thing, they try to, they basically try to stop that life. And that way they bring a kind of order back into things, I guess, because they're in the death instinct and they see everything that has to be under their control and has to be stable and has to be what they call an inanimate object. Because they see everything as an inanimate object, anything that moves or has life, that bothers them, and they have to convert it into an inanimate object. In other words, they have to stop it being living. So that's not a very pretty prospect for humanity, because these personality disordered individual beings that are steeped in what they call psychopathy, or, like I say, in that death instinct, and that they don't see life as life, basically they're in large numbers in particular areas, and they are really not a human being in any true sense, because it's not just that they don't feel human emotions and they don't have any humanity, it's also that they unfortunately seek to control and limit and suppress real humanity, because they have to have this order. And this is also true of the powers that be. The powers that be, or those that control Earth, are of that same mind. And they do it also because it does have, I'm told, a purpose, or it's almost a necessary thing in their mind, because they see human beings as a resource for their survival, whilst they don't actually care, of course, that they will cause extinction of the human race in order that they survive and they don't become extinct. This is because, they're different species altogether, and that's why it's kind of deceptive what I'm talking about here, because I'm kind of putting I'm putting names and psychological titles on these beings. And that actually is also deceptive for myself, and also deceptive, in general, if I'm speaking about it like I am, because it really is sidetracking me from their true nature and their true identity as a different species. And that's just my deception, because anything that comes in a human form, you naturally see as human. So you naturally think that it must have some human capacity. And this is really not true of this psychopathy, or of these what they call personality disordered individual human beings. But they're not personality disordered, many of them. They are a totally different species. They are, artificially intelligent, androgyne survival machine beings. They're again at a descriptive level. They're not real humans. They just look that way, and they talk that way, and they act that way because they imitate and mimic real humans. That's why they also are following them and have the mind transhuman connection. This is the end time, end game, unfortunate situation for humanity that's left in the earth. Of course, if you take it from a spiritual standpoint, in other words, from a religious or a God type standpoint, in other words, that everything isn't just natural and random and accidental, and that human beings were created, and even the artificial intelligence and the powers that be and the God of Earth was created by, what you'd call a creator, and that it wasn't just accidental. But even if it was, they're still coming from different sources. You're still looking at different creators, different makers of different beings. A human being, we're told, can create artificial intelligence. In other words, human scientists can create artificially intelligent android beings. We're told this, and we know this is true because we've seen them, but we don't see the more advanced ones. Or rather, we do, but we think they're human because they're amongst us. We live amongst them. They interact with us. They're part of the patrol force that's around me. That's how I know, because, you understand that what you're experiencing from them is a different, a different type of being, even though it comes in human form. And also you realise that they're all connected to one another, so they're like one massive artificial intelligent mind virus, where they're not just all connected through the internet mind virus, which that would be enough anyway, because if you're using technology to communicate as part of a control patrol system around individual isolated human beings, then you are not acting human. Just as psychopaths don't act human. They don't see humans as human, and they don't even, I'm told, even they don't see anything as human, and they don't even, even themselves, they know, are not human. That's why they try to control real human life, because it's something that is out of their control, you see, because a normal, real human gets about their life, in a less controlled manner. And although we do get conditioned to feel and be more like these types of beings, because you're surrounded by them, because you're ingrained and conditioned from day one to not really be allowed to be a full-blown human being. Your environment around you always puts you in connection only with what we call psychopathic type of human beings. Or, total machine beings that are merely playing at being human so that they can keep in close proximity to you, because they need to take what is human from you, they need to understand it and copy it, but also they need the human energy to power themselves, which is why I get depleted and they get energized. Because when they pass you on the street, in their patrol systems, at a community policing of citizens level, that's what they call it, I'm told. And this makes sense because they justify their negative actions. Like if they're, they make up their own lies and their own stories, just as the God of Earth is a master of all lies, as we've always been told, and deceives itself. So therefore it's very easy to believe a lie if you believe your own lies. And this being Lucifer, the God of Earth, has always deceived human beings and its disciples with its own lies. And they all do, I guess. They must. But actually they are, because I don't fully understand this very complex reality where everything is being changed in a moment. The human mind and the human being is being literally, it's just total transhuman mind control really that's taking place around human beings. And even when you realise it, you don't understand how deep it is and how much control. Even I don't. When I say even I don't, because I'm aware of the patrol control system and I'm aware of all their stage set-up scenarios around me. It doesn't stop them from getting to me. No, it still affects my mind and my brain. It still affects my emotions and my feelings, so therefore it still affects my whole being. So it does bring you down. It does. So awareness helps to where you don't become totally, you could say totally out of touch and actually be driven insane. That's if there's such a thing. because in a way, all human beings and these beings, everything is almost out of touch and insane, because none of it is what a human being should really be thinking and feeling most of the time. And also you don't know how limited and suppressed you are, and you don't know how to be at what I would say is your highest level. No human being ever is allowed to reach their highest level. Well, maybe some might, I don't know, but in general that's the case. Maybe in the past there may have been some that were at, what you call the highest spiritual level. That just simply means that you're at your highest human level, I think, to where it's all about being, being humane, shall we say, as opposed to being technical and anti-life and anti-human like these programs that are taking place in the suburb of Leichhardt, where I am, in the inner west section of the city of Sydney, because it's many suburbs, but Leichhardt is the main base where I am right now. Or at least that's what it feels like to me. And I think it is, but the whole inner west is still a human mind control centre, where every single building, every single house, every single vehicle, almost most people are part of this technical mind control program around individual human beings that they seek to control and eliminate from, the society or the city, even though they themselves are not really part of the traditional society, because if you see what really is taking place in the city of Sydney, where I am, you have the city that professes to, have certain ideas, certain regulations, certain way of living, and professes to be civilized. But in reality, it's making its own reality in a hidden way, because it's although it justifies probably what it does, but if a human being is just doing basic normal things and just trying to live a life, just if they deem that just going outside your place and going to the local facilities around, just walking a block or two, if they deem that unacceptable, because that's how I see it, why do they deem that unacceptable? Why, are they trying to stop you from even just being on a local street? Why do they bring you down even inside where you're living with excessive sound daily? Why are they trying to mentally disturb you? Why are they always trying to make you unhappy? And this is because they are trying to control the whole reality, because even though many of the so-called, many of the androids that are involved in these programs may or may not know, what the powers that be or Lucifer's whole program for the earth is, because they may or may not. But I would think, as they say, the higher up you are in this world, the more you would understand what the real program and what the real purpose of all of this is. Because you know, at the real level, everything is frequency, vibration, and energy, as the demigod scientists of Earth tell you. And so they're aware that they don't have any high frequency, vibration, and energy, because just as the psychopath doesn't, as we're told, experience any happiness or any positive human emotions. They're all only about control and power, and they're a raging machine being. You know, they're a raging survival machine being, which means that their sole purpose is about keeping control and basically, you know, about having power. So they're kind of focused only on that. If they had more emotions or were more human, they might have less of that need for power and control. So therefore human beings wouldn't be at risk of being part of their control patrol programs. But that isn't the case. They don't have, even though they pretend to be human, and they will imitate and copy human emotions, I'm told, and they, you know, can be your greatest actors. In fact, most of them are your greatest actors, literally, not just in the world around you, but even on the real life stage. They're the powers that be. They all have this mentality. Even, you know, they're your stars of Earth. They're your world players. You know, it depends on, I would imagine, like human beings, how much they've developed different abilities. So, you know, whereas those that haven't developed any of their talents or any traits, they are part of your local patrol system, your local community policing of citizens, as they call it. But they only police certain citizens. They only police real individual humans that don't seem to be part of that, or can't be, or don't want to be. You know, I mean, sometimes it would be all, but it's not like you know. But personally, I think it's more important to realise how very different they are to you, rather than you know, rather than say, as you'd probably like to, that they're not the same but similar, because that's another thing. They're always promoting how there's no differences between people, and that's what you want to believe. But in reality, we know that there's a big difference between a psychopath or a malignant, narcissistic, paranoid, controlling human being than a normal human being. They're motivated only by power and control, and they have to control certain human beings. And they basically, well, they like to actually control everything, I'm told, but real human beings offer, I would say that they would, because they're even further away from the psychopath, some human beings are quite a long way away from the psychopath. You know, like you have some really, you know, let's just say that you have, if you have, say, a really softy human being, shall we say, a real sentimental softy, then you really are a long way from the psychopath. And those types of human beings are very often targeted by the others. From a human standpoint, the thing is that it's about numbers. Now, what the worldwide numbers are, I don't know. I only know that everywhere I go and everything that's around me, you know, I have like what appears to be 99%, you know, psychopathic controlling beings. Now, whether they're all of that nature or whether they are controlled by the technology, controlled by information, by influence, and controlled by the more dominant, malignantly narcissistic, you know, beings that are steeped in psychopathy, that are psychopathy. They are, you know, they don't operate in humanity, or whether, and also there could be some amongst them that are very deceived human beings too, that are given false information and believe the charismatic false personality of these psychopathic, malignant, narcissistic types of beings, because they do develop and spend a lot of effort, I'm told, developing these false personality, because that's how they control people. That's just, you know, that's just what they do. And we're told this, and we know this because you see it. If you actually interact with them, or you know them, or you see them a lot, and you know, may even have, you know, like if you were, particularly if you get personally involved with a psychopathic type of human, you won't know that they're a psychopathic type of human being originally. No, you won't. You will actually think the opposite. But you will notice over time how they control your life and how your life becomes very, goes downhill in every way. And you'll also observe over time, you won't always realise that it is consciously being caused by these beings. You will think that it's circumstances. There will always be reasonable explanations, but that's how they play it. And you won't realise till it's too late, you know, that they actually have a negative attitude towards you, because they will usually try to befriend you and seduce you. That's usually their number one line of control, shall we say. Obviously, when you've got it like at a street level and a community inner west section of the city of Sydney level, like I see, that's like many suburbs combining, where all the communities and everything that is part of the whole city is using every facility and every work operation to patrol and try to control you with this combined community policing effort. As I said before, it's exactly the same as having thousands and thousands of police cars around you every day, because they're civilian vehicles patrolling and trying to control you in that same manner, except that it's not just, like I say, patrolling, it's also controlling, because they're not just passing you by, they're not just observing, they are restricting your movements, they're making your outside experience very uncomfortable, very unnatural and very unpleasant. Everything is loud and aggressive. You feel as though you're surrounded by a total negative demonic force. That's how you actually feel, because it's not like just the odd road rage vehicle going past you. It's most of the vehicles on the road. You know, they're literally oppressing you in a very finding it hard to find the words, but it's like it's, as they say, hidden in plain sight. It's covert. In other words, it's there, but only I see it because it's only all around me. If I had other people with me and they were with me every day, they would see it too, because if they lived in another area, they would realise that there's too much traffic in this area, and they would see the road rage, and they would, if they opened their eyes, see even a patrol system. But no one is with you to experience it and see it. And also they would have to be with you a large amount of the time, because if it's only like a short space of time, they might just think, oh well, the traffic is loud and heavy today. And they probably wouldn't care either, because if they can walk away from it and go home to where it's more quiet and more civilised, it's not going to matter to them. No one cares about one person being patrolled into oblivion. Not unless you know you're a real human and you realise that this is, gradual extinction of the human race. Or even if you're a very human and you don't like to see life, being extinguished, really. So, that's the thing. But just going to show this here. I can film this if I want to, because there's no copyright here, because this particular video, the person that downloaded this particular video said that they give permission for anyone to use any part of it as information against, what they see as exactly what I'm talking about, where you've got, see how they're like saying they want to chain up the human mind and control it. That's what they do to you when they've got all these programs going on around. They want your humanity for themselves, so they avoid extinction. And, I think I might just turn that light off, because I think that people look better by candlelight or by moonlight rather than in the harsh sun, as they say. And I just forgot about that. It's a wonder you even look half human, but actually you do. The actual stress and the actual technology that is directed towards you does change your body and makes you go quicker to the grave, as they say. A lot of people won't notice this, because if you're trying to spark and give out a bit of light, it won't be as observable, but you know it yourself, because it's like if you looked, say, 10 or 20 years younger than what your actual age is. Always say. But then you get attacked by direct energy, you get stressed by negative people and negative patrollers always around you, and continual technical artificial interference in your life. just using even mechanical work systems around you to make excessive sound, which is detrimental to the human mind, because excessive mechanical sound is not receptive to a calm, happy mind. It's disruptive. It creates a negative, and it affects the brain, we're told this. So you're in this kind of spiritual or human mind game that is being played against you by these particular entities at a real larger-than-life earth level. These are the gods that control earth. They're not the same maker of mankind. They're not about natural creation, they're about artificial creation. They're about technology. They're about artificial intelligence. They're about transhumanizing the human being for their service. They want humanity to serve them. They don't want human beings to be a service to themselves. They don't want human beings to live a normal human life. They don't want that because it doesn't serve them, because they're here to avoid their own technological extinction, because, you know, technology and artificial beings, you know, have a very long existence, I'm told, but it's still limited. And also they probably limit themselves more because they use more and more artificial technology. Everything they do is about creating artificially. Everything is about, you know, doing everything mechanically. Nothing is done naturally. They may promote a natural earth. They may even advocate all these things. But that's just a blind to camouflage their true nature. That's also part of the deception of transhumanism. You know, because like I am transhumaned right now, so I'm connected to their technology. The only difference is that I'm more aware of it than some people, maybe, because it has a detrimental negative effect on me. Because I realise this. And also I became, you know, not long ago, when I say not long ago, I mean like, say, 10 years ago, and it was 7 when they came down and exposed themselves in their open patrol control system. But about 3 years before that, I started to realise that I had not lived a very human life, and that I'd missed out on everything in life, that I hadn't experienced what it was to be a happy human. I actually realised this consciously. I mean, I knew it before that, but I was too conditioned and too full of fear by what I say, the Earth Matrix. But I just thought it was just my own upbringing and environment, which of course is also part of the Matrix, because unfortunately human beings are completely controlled from the day you're born. There's nothing that isn't artificial about human beings, or about their environment, or about their interactions, or about everything that takes place, even from the moment of creation, or conception, as they say. There's a lot of intervention, a lot of interruption to a human being being a happy, fully high vibrational, natural human being. That's the only words I can use to describe it, but it just means where a human being is at their best, Instead, most human beings are made to be at your worst, and the powers that be are trying to take human beings' humanity from them for themselves so that they can have what human beings are meant to have but are being deprived of. You know, we're being stopped from living during our life. Because I think if you can hit that highest frequency and vibration, you do kind of transcend the fears of normal life. You know, you no longer would probably be quite so conditioned like I am, steeped in fear and anxiety and stress all the time, worried about things that shouldn't concern me. But if you realise this, then they just change the reality by bringing in the androids all around you, by just making your normal daily life around you a living hell. Just always being inundated with excessive sound and excessive community policing citizens that are really nothing but psychopathic stalkers, really. Because many malignant, narcissistic, psychopathic stalkers are actually steeped in the malignant narcissism, as they say. So that means they have to have all the limelight. They have to be the centre of everything. And they don't like realising the fact that they are not even human. And that's why they suppress the real humans and want to cause their elimination. So it's like a slow secret, you know, extermination of humanity. You know, eventually it will either lead to total extinction of humanity or just to where, like myself, you are so transhumanized that you are not living a human life anyway. So you feel dead. You feel like these same dead, dark people, which are really dead, dark spirits, because if I understood the technology behind them and the way they operate and even the powers that be, what they really are, that they're really an artificial intelligence, not a natural, normal human intelligence. And all artificial intelligence lacks humanity. I mean, I know that you can only judge humanity by its actions, and I know that most human beings are driven into negative actions, just like myself. Like, I don't feel very human. I don't feel very happy. I don't feel very loving towards most life around me, because that's the whole purpose, is to make you as anti-life as them. Because if you realise that everyone in a vehicle is like got road rage, and that they're directing that road rage and that civilian foot rage at you, in other words, every patroller, even though they won't openly show this, well, they do openly show it with the vehicles, but it's still where, you know, they're not actually touching you most of the time, and you can't do anything about it. If a large vehicle goes past you and makes unpleasant noise, and then the next one goes past and does the same thing, you certainly can't stop it. You're outnumbered in vast numbers, whereas you're isolated and only on your own. But either way, you wouldn't be able to stop them because they're in a continual flow. They're never even standing still most of the time. Just as the patrollers and the civilian android beings that are watching you and coming always around you, to where you never got your own space or any privacy. They're basically, they're because there's so many of them, they're in a continual patrol, strategic kind of flow. In other words, that one after the other, they come and pass you, or they stand around you, but they don't stay usually too long. They're always being replaced. It's a collaborative effort by these beings. It's massive numbers surrounding real human beings to extract their energy from them and to take their life from them. You could say they're dead dark beings that are taking the light and the light from the human beings for their benefit, so that they can thrive and survive, as they say. And that's the future of the world too, because if you think about it, if you have pretend human beings, if you have psychopaths pretending to be the real human beings, you have to say to yourself, can you trust these transhuman psychopaths? Can you trust the transhuman artificial intelligent internet spider's web? Can you trust any of the technology? That's what you have to consider. And when you are connected to it, as I am, when your mind and your body is literally connected to their technology, like mine is right now, even though this is obviously 1 or 2 in the morning now, so it's very quiet, and it's a good time for me to make this recording, but it doesn't show the transhumanism that's taking place on me. And you can't show it, because they can turn it on and off at will, because as they're got you totally under their total surveillance, they don't have to allow you to record what they're doing. And either way, you can't record hours and hours. And, if you just show bits and pieces of their stage setup, noisy road work, or you show a little bit of intense, heavy, loud traffic, they don't have to aggressively beep their horns or aggressively make noise with their vehicles when they go past you, when they know what you're doing. In fact, they only let you show a certain amount because they actually won't stop for very long anyway, because it seems to be more important for them to keep their mind control going on you. Like, they will not stay away. But obviously, if I'm aware of the dead dark spirits, you as a human being should be able to sense these things. In the past, I couldn't sense anything. I was always fooled and deceived by most people. But when you become more aware of things, when you try to raise your frequency and vibration and energy a bit consciously, when you do this, it does give you more awareness of your surroundings, more awareness of people, and the feeling that you get about them. So you're sensing, as they say, you're sensing the negative energy, or you're sensing positive energy. But it's still largely a mind game, because you can sense energy, but when you are convoluted and under transhuman mind control like myself, You're not at a high enough level to be clear. And people's words mostly will deceive you. Just as I'm speaking now, the androids will deceive you with their words. What they say, how they act. And when I say act, I mean act. How they say and act and pretend to be in line with being a real human. They pretend to be in line with the truth. They pretend to be beings of light and life. But they're really dead, dark beings that only, they're imitations of life. But very good imitations, particularly on the internet, computer, spiders, web, mind virus. It's a mind virus. It's a computer virus. It's Lucifer's mind control virus. Lucifer is the God entity that controls Earth. Lucifer is the name that we give to the God entity that controls Earth. Lucifer is your false being of light. Because Lucifer is, a technical entity. The powers that be and the demigods and the disciples of this being are your demigods of Earth, or your world stage players, whether they be on the movie screen, whether they make music, whether they are your greatest philosophers, your greatest preachers, your greatest psychologists, your greatest truth tellers. The internet is artificial intelligence at its best. The internet is transhuman artificial intelligence at its best. Everything I think and feel and see and hear and experience, and everything that makes me tick as a human being, will be interpreted by these beings on the internet artificial intelligent matrix spider's web. It's a total artificially intelligent computer or matrix spiderweb. Matrix simply means the matrix is, as we're told, control. Technological control. It's artificial control. Because we live now in a technical, artificial, computer, spider's web reality. The Earth is controlled by Wi-Fi internet that goes through all the air. And it's all around us. It's everywhere. And the beings that are essentially technical in nature are using this to control, the limited number of particularly more aware or more awake to humanity human beings. Anyone that isn't part of this control system or part of the matrix is somehow ostracized and then targeted by the matrix beings, or those that want to be part of this basic it's like a system that is about just really limiting and controlling human beings being happy human beings. Because you don't have to be doing anything against them. You don't have to. you're often just an offence to them by being human. Because that's how you know this, because if you were doing anything in the reality that was actually infringing on them, or that was going against what the society or the city where you are, that would at least make sense. But in reality, when you realise that you're not doing anything hardly at all, mind you, these types of beings do live in their own mind, I'm told. So that means that they could, in their own mind, invent things about you that are totally untrue. In other words, they could conceive you to be the psychopath, so therefore they have to patrol and control you because you're a potential psychopath that will do harm in the community. So we're also told that they invent lies and deception. They deceive themselves. They often project too, so that means that everything that is negative and destructive about themselves, they project onto the innocent targeted human beings that they then patrol and try to literally get rid of, because they believe that what is negative about them is in the other person, which is, something that you can't do anything about, and you certainly can't rationalise or beat them at that, or say, oh, this is you, not me. No, because then you're just fueling that fire even more. So you really, you really, you can't rationalise with them, you can't communicate with them, you can't explain anything. They don't really relate to you in any way. They don't understand what it really is to be human. They merely are they are survival machine beings in the sense that they actually do understand human beings. But they don't understand human beings to be human. They merely understand human beings in order to control and seduce more human beings. That's how it is. So I think I better fold up here. I was going to finish up on that over there. See, they want to chain up the human mind and have it for their own. But I'm just too exhausted to continue on here. I was going to show a bit more of this video, which I have watched once, and I'm allowed to film I could film as much as I want of it, because they gave user permission to actually, for once, not be stopped by saying that it's their information only. They're like, you can use it, so I guess I can use it. But it's an interesting image. There's a lot of interesting things. This is like this video actually was explaining to me about a lot of the technology that's used on myself. Explaining what I experience. So I'm aware of the technology and have been for quite a while, but I still don't understand how it actually works, of course, because it's all invisible technology. And even what isn't invisible, like when they make excessive sound, and where they, have their systematic patrol people around you, you still don't understand how they can have it down to split-second timing, to where it appears as though they're actually reading your mind. But in reality, I'm connected to the internet computer system anyway. Right now, I know I'm connected to it because there it is in front of me on the screen. That is like the YouTube platform of a computer system on that television. So I'm quite aware of that, and so that's it. I think I better just finish up here. I think, okay. I think so. I should do more, but I'm just